Glad you made it back, everybody. Washington, D.C.'s Attorney General Karl Racine announcing he's suing Amazon on antitrust grounds, claiming the company's practices have unfairly raised prices for consumers and suppressed innovation. Trish Regan, host of the Trish Intel podcast, here to weigh in. Hey, Trish, welcome back. Glad to have you here. On top of Racine suing Amazon for price fixing, reports say that Amazon quietly killed a number of sellers on their website, and we're not sure why they did this, just kicked them off. Could a competitor take all of this and build some serious competition to Amazon? We conservatives are hungry for it, after all.
Yeah, no, I think that we as conservatives believe in plenty of competition, right? One company having control over such a large landscape just doesn't work. I have always been troubled by, or at least in recent years, the size to which Amazon has grown, Chris. I think that there's a real antitrust issue here. Now, a lot of people would say, oh, well, the consumer's doing just fine, right? The consumer is actually having access to more competitive pricing as a result of Amazon because it's creating this channel by which everybody can sell. The problem is when a company is so large such that it becomes sort of the only channel or the only vehicle in which it can, which people can buy things, then it becomes a whole other problem, a can of worms, a monopoly-like venture. And I think ultimately the consumer and certainly the sellers lose out in that environment. Amazon has become so big, I mean, just massively huge, where they have such a dictation over the selling environment right now that I don't think that ultimately it does the American consumer a whole lot of good. I think it is a monopoly. I think the Department of Justice would be very wise to look at this as an antitrust issue and think about breaking it up, along with other big tech companies while we're at it.
Yeah, exactly. I think the government's been so responsive on antitrust here lately. I'm saying that tongue in cheek. Florida is the model state this week, with Governor DeSantis signing Florida's big tech bill, allowing social media users to sue if they're unfairly censored and enforcing fines if platforms, ban politicians, state officials. This is a move in the right direction, I think. I think a lot of states need to take a look at this, don't you?
I'm ready to pack my bags and move to Florida. I'm going to tell you. I mean, either that or Texas or New Hampshire, two other very good states with no income taxes. But no, Florida is looking more and more attractive, Chris, because there's a governor there that's really looking out for personal liberties. Basically, Governor DeSantis is saying, look, you have a right as an individual to consume whatever information in the so-called town square, right, that Facebook had promised and other social media companies had promised to be. And it's your decision whether or not you choose to read or not read something. You should be able to make that decision. Facebook, Twitter, any other social media company should not be making that for you. I think that's a really valid argument. And I think that this is the first time that we have seen, Chris, anyone, any state really stand up to big tech in a way that needs to be done. I mean, we're at a crossroads right now. Let's be very clear. I don't think that big tech has done America in terms of our civil liberties, in terms of our personal liberty and our freedom of speech, really any favors in this environment. And so I commend DeSantis. I commend the state of Florida for doing that. And I'm not kidding. Florida's looking really, really attractive.
900 people, allegedly 900 people a day are moving to the state of Florida. I heard that from their CFO down there. Business groups have started a coalition to defeat every socialist Democrat tax proposal for increases. They're arguing for increases. Even on big corporations, I think people are starting to realize in the business community, thinking that they elected a moderate, and they realized that they got Bernie Sanders instead, and it's scaring the hell out of people.
Well, it should. Okay, so Joe Biden campaigned on this whole idea of he's just a nice guy who's going to stay in his basement, and not create any waves and not really change the status quo and let America be America. And look, I think Americans, I'm going to give every American credit for this. I think that we tend to be very sort of independent, and we don't want government overly involved in our lives. So there was the sense before that, the president was taking all the oxygen out of the room and sucking all the attention from the media, and people were like, okay, I need a break. And they thought Joe Biden would give them that break. And they mistakenly thought, that Joe Biden would give them a break from the chaos and the circus in the media while simultaneously continuing the policies of the previous administration, which the previous administration, I would add, did very successfully. Low taxes, less regulation, strong on the international front. And instead, we've got the opposite. For goodness sakes, I mean, the Biden administration dropped the investigation into the origin of the coronavirus out of the Wuhan lab. So I think that people kind of feel gypped. And they should, because on the tax front, on the economic front, on the international front, it's not what they expected.
I like that. People feel gypped. As a matter of, we thought we were getting moderate. We end up getting AOC and Bernie Panders 2.0. Trish Regan, always glad to have you here on the Chris Salcedo Show. We'll talk to you next week.
Hey, I'm Rob Finnerty. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please join the conversation in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe, too. Hit the bell icon to be alerted to breaking news. And remember, there's a whole lot more on Newsmax TV, America's fastest growing cable news network. Newsmax TV, we're real news for real people.